Today is May the 4th, but I wanted to make a Camp NaNoWriMo wrap-up video, and I wanted to explain some of the things that I learned throughout this Camp NaNoWriMo and what I felt like made it successful. So I ended up writing 40,482 words in April, which was 482 more than my initial goal, which I was really excited about. So I did win. And a couple things that I feel like made it possible. Number one was you get to create your own word goal. You don't have to stick with the 50,000 word goal. I don't think I could have done 50,000. It's, you know, anything's possible, but it was a stretch getting to 40,000, and I wrote a lot that last day. So I feel like I picked a pretty reasonable number. I could have even gone lower, but I'm glad that I was able to hit 100,000 words in my novel overall, which is what I wanted in the long run. That aspect of Camp NaNoWriMo was really enjoyable for me, and I feel like a lot of other people from what I've observed picked pretty good numbers for them as well. Another thing that made it successful for me was that I went in with an established project. I knew what I was working on and I was just finishing it. So I feel like the spirit of the traditional November NaNoWriMo is you start a project on November 1st. And with Camp NaNoWriMo, I felt like it was more okay for me to come in with my book already more than half written and just finish it in April. That was a lot easier because I already knew the characters, I already knew where the story was going, I had a plan. That also helped me be successful. I feel like with last November, I was working on a project that I ended up not enjoying. I felt like it was something that was really interesting to me in the beginning, and I just ended up not feeling like I was the best person to write that story from that perspective. And it was really hard halfway through November when I realized this. Definitely coming in with a project that I knew I loved made it a whole lot easier. Some other things I learned during this Camp NaNoWriMo. I learned a lot about choosing my battles. I ended up having a pretty stressful semester of school. I was not good at doing NaNoWriMo while I was teaching full-time because you kind of have to make that your priority, but teaching part-time, it just ended up being a stressful April. I had a couple people fail who I'm not working right now, so I guess I can say it. They deserve to fail, and they just took it as a personal attack and tried to imply that it was my fault to people above me. I knew that I didn't do anything wrong. One of these students had not come to class for the first like 75% of the semester. That was a little bit frustrating, but something that I did that I was proud of myself for, because I've never been good at this, is I shut my work email and I didn't worry about it. I would check it again in a few hours just to see if there were any updates or if I needed to turn in anything or add anything to the conversation. But other than that, I was like, this isn't my priority. My priority right now is writing, and I'm not going to let myself be upset and let it interfere with my book, because this is what I want to do ultimately. Another thing that I learned, I'm a pretty big word dumper. I like to go into first drafts not having the entire thing planned out and just seeing what my creative mind can do. But a lot of times that leaves you with a lot of unusable material. And so when I felt myself getting too far off the path of what I had planned or what I had imagined would happen in the story, I took a day to plan and like regroup and do some things, like maybe if it was a character that I was struggling with, do some character planning. If it was a plot point, do some plot planning. And I feel like that helped a lot, because near the end of April, I made a plan that I was going to start the rewrite of this book immediately in May. And so I knew that if I wrote too much random stuff, that it was going to inhibit me from being successful later on. And so I did make sure to stop when I felt like I was getting too far off track and find my way back to the path. I also enjoyed the cabin aspect of it. I'd heard from other people that sometimes cabins get less and less active as the month goes on, and I think our cabin did get a little less active as some people dropped off or got busy, but I really did enjoy the cabin. I feel like in past NaNoWriMos I've just watched other people's YouTube channels or like looked on Tumblr or Twitter, and I like peeked into people's lives and experiences that way, but this way I felt more invested because I could contribute my own. We could talk back and forth about some of the struggles we were having. It made me want to comment on other people's YouTube videos more often because I felt like I knew this person. And so it ended up being enjoyable and helpful. I felt like people in my cabin were very encouraging, and I never want to be like a complainer. I'm a natural complainer for sure, but I never want to be a complainer. And I felt like I could complain a little bit in the group and get some really good feedback or really good suggestions, or even just empathy. So I did really enjoy the cabin aspect of it. I kind of wish that NaNoWriMo had some sort of social aspect, because I think a lot of people do come to YouTube during NaNoWriMo for that, just to share experiences with other people. I know that you're supposed to go to write-ins and stuff, but I've never done that in the past. I don't know, so this was a good virtual writing group. So I already mentioned my future plans a little bit, but I wanted to give you a little more detail of what my goals are. My deadlines seem a little strict, and I might not meet them, but I have to try. So I am not working this summer for the first time in a long time. And my sister just moved in with us. She is planning to go to grad school here. And so for the first time I have the opportunity to be like a full-time writer, and I'm going to take it. So I'm planning on doing a full rewrite of my book. And I might keep some things, I might keep entire chapters, but I'm starting fresh with a new Scrivener document, and I am going to work from there. So I have the goal to be done with this rewrite by August 1st, which would give me, I've already started, so it gives me all of May, all of June, and all of July. I don't know what my final word count is going to be. I'm not going to worry about it on this draft because I already have 100,000 words, so it's not like I'm going to have to try to add a lot. So I'm going to worry more about the content. If I need to cut stuff, I'll cut stuff. But I'm hoping to be done by August 1st. And I'm also hoping to have people read chapters as I complete them. And this is to make sure that I'm on the right path, that I'm doing what I want to do with it. I feel like, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like I have a really good first draft, and I don't know why that is. I think it's because when I started it in December, I had a very strong vision of what I wanted, and just working with those characters for 4 months and working with the story for 4 months, I have a better picture of what I want it to be. I don't know, I feel like I took my time throughout the beginning of it, which made it stronger. I've never been that type of person who thought like I'm going to write a book in 3 months and then query it and submit it, and I'm like, that's just not me, because I feel like I know that I'm going to struggle with that part of publication for sure, just because it's scary, and I want to turn in something that's perfect and have something ready for people to read if they want to. I want to feel confident giving it to people, but I also want to stop stalling. I did not end up submitting my last novel. Part of that reason is because I had it read and I realized there were some pretty big issues that would require a rewrite. And I put so much time in that book, and I really thought about like, is this what I would want my first published book to be? And the answer ended up being no. I still might go back to the book, but I decided to put it away for now and work on another project. And I did start 2 other novels in between that project and this project that I'm working on now. That's how much I really consider how important a project is to me and how like confident I feel in it. So when I start querying a book, I want to know that I gave it my all, that I tried my hardest. And when I start getting the rejection letters back, I want to feel proud of myself that I tried and put myself out there. I don't want it to be a question of, was this not a representation of my best work? I want to know this is my best work, so I can have a pretty good idea of like, is this feasible for me or not? I've thought about self-publishing, indie publishing, and I think there are a lot of pros, but I do want to try traditional publishing first to see if that works out for me. It might not, and that's fine. I know a lot of people self-publish and do really well and are happy with that. and I know that that is always an option for me as well. So the next few months are going to be pretty busy for me. I'm really excited I have this opportunity. I feel like not a lot of people do. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched all these videos and followed my journey. I've loved documenting it. The first NaNoWriMo that I vlogged, I was like, what am I doing? I'm so bad at this. But now I like looking back at it because I can see the issues I was having then, what I struggled with. I like having that there for me to reference because that first NaNoWriMo that I filmed for YouTube was my most successful NaNoWriMo to date in terms of the story that came out of it. I was really proud of that draft and finishing that book, and this is like a whole nother level. Like, this book is 100,000 words. But I couldn't have done it if I wouldn't have started somewhere. And so I look back to, I wish I would have filmed all my NaNoWriMos, honestly. It would have been interesting to see like how it went before kids and then after having a baby, but I'm glad I started when I did. So thank you to all of you who have watched and liked the videos and commented on the videos. I really appreciate it. It really did help me this month more than ever. And I'm so excited to take you along in the future. I don't know how much I'm going to film of redrafting the novel because I don't know how interesting it's gonna be, but I'm excited to take you along when I finally decide to start querying and trying to find an agent. Oh, it scares me saying it out loud on camera, but that is my goal. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.